Well, it's still jolly cold here today where I live. Actually, when you hear the story being read to you guys, it probably will be much warmer because I'm recording this at the beginning of February, of course, around about Valentine's Day. So by the time you see this, it'll be around I think about the 26th of February. Anyway, let's continue with the story of Budi. We're at chapter 13, and chapter 13 is called Never Been to Spain. There's a rumor going around that a factory collapsed yesterday. Apparently, they put a new machine on the top floor and it brought the whole building down. Quite a few people were killed. The last time this happened, some white men in suits came and paid off the dead people's families. They became the richest people in town, and it was like they were famous because all their friends and neighbors kept pestering them for money. The collapse is really controversial because the factory can't make anything until it has been rebuilt. Apparently, the factory where Fakhri, Ustan and Widodo work is being kept open overnight to try and catch up. Hopefully, someone has told the footballers not to get rid of their boots this week because they might not be getting a new pair for a while. If the message arrives too late, they'll probably have to borrow a pair from the substitutes. It would be a disaster if the football got cancelled because there was a shortage of boots. At least Karen Wakefield would be able to play, because I make his. I ask Roshi why the footballers who wear the others' boots can't use ours until the factory's been rebuilt. He looks at me and frowns. They're not allowed. Oh, why not? Because it's pretty much the worst thing a footballer can do. If a footballer is seen wearing boots with the wrong logo, he'll be in big trouble. It's like Wakefield being seen in a Barcelona shirt. Despite the heat of the factory, I shiver at the thought. This logo business seems a bit silly to me. The worst thing a footballer can do is dive or get a straight red card for punching the referee or miss a penalty in a cup final. Obviously, wearing your worst enemy's shirt is pretty bad, but that's got nothing to do with logos. I must look confused because Roshi says, remember when we talked about the bribes? I tell him I remember, even though it still doesn't make much sense to me. Roshi frowns hard at his machine, and I can see he doesn't want to talk anymore. I still haven't spoken to him about stealing the boots for me, partly because I don't know what to say, and partly because the longer I leave it, the more I think it's better that he doesn't know I know. Up on the walkway outside the foreman's office, the Rotan leans against the wall. It hasn't been touched since it was used on the girl yesterday. I wipe the sweat from my forehead and concentrate on the upper I'm stitching. I decide to make as many boots as possible just in case there is a shortage and everyone decides it's okay to wear our boots. Surely they would rather play football in the wrong boots than cancel all the matches. That would be a nightmare. I wouldn't want to be the man in charge of rearranging 100 football matches. Then I remember the football boot museum where all the old pairs are kept and realize they will just use those. I feel relieved and stop working quite so fast. My head throbs from the noise of the machines, and I can feel my t-shirt sticking to my back. When the buzzer goes for my break, I go outside to get some air. The sun beats down and there's hardly any shade. It's so hot and humid that I don't feel like eating. Roshi is on the same break, so I suggest we play football for a bit. Oh, we haven't got a ball, he says, wiping his face on his Manchester United t-shirt. There's not enough time to run home and fetch mine, so I look round for something else. We can use this, I say, kicking a plastic bottle towards him. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, come on, Roshi. You can go in goal. All you have to do is stand there. He shrugs and we go round to the side of the factory. Football is called football because you use your feet, not because you need a football to play. It's obviously better to play with one, but you can use empty bottles, sticks, stones, pretty much anything that moves when you kick it. There isn't anything better than the bottle round the side, so we use that. Roshi stands in front of one of the big bins, and I take penalties against him. I like shooting against Roshi because he's quite a bit taller than Fakhri, which makes it a lot harder. In total, I take 27 penalties and score 15 of them. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it takes me about 5 shots to get used to the shape of the bottle, and the bin is only a bit wider than Roshi standing with his arms out. He only saves 4 penalties, and the rest go wide. But not by much. The buzzer goes as the bottle pings off the bin for the 15th time. I make the heart shape with my fingertips and pat my chest where the Real Madrid should be. Roshi picks the bottle up and turns to put it in the bin. "Hey, Budi," he says, "come here." I walk over and stand on tiptoe to see into the bin. Inside, scraps of badly cut uppers and snapped sole units and frayed, multicolored shoelaces form a great mound of color. And among them all is a bundle of grey rags. And among the rags is a man. Nestled within the crook of his arm is an empty glass bottle which he cradles like a baby. A chemical smell of plastic and alcohol rises from the bin, and I have to turn my face away. I look at Roshi in disbelief. "How could anyone sleep through that penalty shootout?" I ask. Roshi peers into the bin again. "He's drunk." "Excuse me, Bapak. Hello?" The homeless man doesn't stir. Roshi moves to the side so that the sun falls directly onto his face. Still, he doesn't move. I edge closer to Roshi. He's not dead, is he?" Roshi leans in and shakes him by the shoulder. The man flinches, grabbing hold of the empty bottle with both hands. "Away!" he shouts, slurring so much he makes it sound like several words. "We're going to be late," I say to Roshi. "He's awake now. We know he's okay. Let's go." "You need to get out of this bin, Bapak," Roshi says, ignoring me. He reaches in, but the man shrinks away, still cradling the bottle. His bloodshot eyes struggle to focus in the sunlight. "Monsoon," the man says, lifting the empty bottle to his lips. "It's not the rainy season yet," Roshi says. "We need to get you out, otherwise you'll get crushed when they come to take the rubbish away. That's if you don't cook in here first. Now come on." The man finally seems to notice that his bottle is empty, and he abandons it without a second glance. He manages to roll onto all fours, and together we haul him out of the bin. As we lower him onto the ground, his long, greasy hair drags across my face. "It doesn't look well," Roshi says. I agree. He looks like he might throw up or pass out at any moment. "Well, at least he's out of the bin," Roshi says. "Now, we really need to get back." "Hang on," I say, acting on a sudden idea. I dig into my pockets and find a few notes. "I'll be back in a minute." "Where are you going?" Roshi calls after me. I run around the side of the factory and stop at the first street stall I find. When the vendor sees my money, he reaches under his sizzling wajan and retrieves a bottle of water from an ice bucket. I hand over the cash and race back to Roshi. The homeless man has thrown up. His legs are covered in a slick, watery sick, and I can tell that Roshi is trying hard not to retch. "Here," I say, offering the water to the homeless man. He looks up, and for the first time his eyes focus on me. "Thank you," he says, taking the bottle and swallowing half the contents in 3 thirsty gulps. "Take care," I say. And then Roshi pulls me away. We run back to our stations, hoping our lateness might go unnoticed. But the foreman is like a god. He knows everything. "Lazy pigs, the both of you," he shouts, hitting me across the back of the head. "Who do you think you are taking an extra 5 minutes? Do it again and you'll be on break permanently, you understand?" "Yes, Bapak." "Good, now get back to work." I reach for the next upper, but I stop short as the sound of the rotan slices through the air. Then there's the sickening, breathless shock, like I'm falling from a great height. And then comes the pain, like landing in a pit of needles. "Roshi," the foreman shouts, "make sure you don't wear that shirt tomorrow. We're having an inspection. If the boss sees it, he won't be happy, and it'll be me that pays the price." And the smack of the rotan comes again. "Yes, Bapak," Roshi says, wincing against the pain. The foreman spends the whole afternoon standing on the walkway, glaring down at us. We're both glad when the day is over. On the walk home, I ask Roshi why he thinks we're having an inspection. "Do you reckon they want to make sure our factory won't collapse, like the other one?" Roshi shakes his head. "Oh, they've never been worried about it before. The last time we had an inspection, they were only interested in how fast the production line was. They fired a bunch of people for being too slow, remember?" I do remember. A white woman in a man's suit walked around with the foreman, a clipboard in her hand. Whenever she came across something or someone she didn't like, she would point her pen at it and make a note on the clipboard. The foreman does a lot of bowing and smiling when we have an inspection, and he makes sure we know how to do the same thing. I start to wonder why Roshi isn't allowed to wear his Manchester United shirt tomorrow. Does the inspector support Manchester City, or Liverpool, or Arsenal? Manchester United have a lot of worst enemies. "No," Roshi says, "it's because of the logo. The inspector doesn't like it." I wonder whether Roshi has taken a bribe. "But you're not a footballer, so it doesn't matter." Roshi shrugs. He seems really down about it. It's his best shirt, after all. "Oh, well, don't worry," I say. "I'm sure you can wear it after tomorrow." Then I have a really good idea to cheer him up. "You know the pay rise everyone is talking about?" "Yeah." "I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm planning to save as much of the extra money as I can to go and see Kieran Wakefield play at the Bernabeu. If I save enough, you could come with me and I'll buy you a brand new Real Madrid shirt with Belmonte on the back." My idea obviously isn't that good because Roshi looks sadder than ever. "Budi, you'll never have enough money to do that." "I will if I save hard enough. With the pay rise, we'll get almost 280,000 rupiah a week. Kieran Wakefield only gets 360,000 euros. Roshi stops walking then. He frowns at me. "Budi, euros are worth a lot more than rupiah, just like dollars or pounds." I frown back. "Well, what do you mean?" "Come on, follow me and I'll show you." We walk to Roshi's apartment in silence. He has a calculator that his dad used when he was a successful salesman before he died. It's missing a few buttons, but it still works. Roshi rummages inside a cupboard and eventually finds the calculator. He has a good brain for sums, so I let him do all the working out. He says that €1 is worth the same as about 16,500 rupiah. If Kieran Wakefield earns 360,000 euros a week, that would be, he shows me the calculator screen. I can't say the number, but it looks like this: 5,940,000,000 rupiah, Roshi says. "A week?" Roshi nods. "That's a lot of rupiah. I always knew footballers were rich, but I didn't know they were that rich. The only other time I've heard Roshi talk about billions was when he tried to explain how many stars are in the sky. A billion is a lot." Roshi goes quiet and pushes a lot of buttons and scratches his head. "I'm not sure," he says, "but I think it takes Kieran Wakefield 100 seconds to earn as many rupiah as we earn in a month." We decided that the calculator probably is broken after all.